One day Jesus and his disciples boarded a boat. He said to them, "Let's cross over to the other side of the lake." So they set sail. As they were sailing, he fell asleep. Gale force winds swept down upon the lake. The boat was filling up with water and they were in danger. So they went and woke Jesus, shouting, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." But he got up and gave orders to the wind and the violent waves. The storm died down and it was calm. He said to his disciples, "Where's your faith?" Filled with awe and wonder, they said to each other, "Who is this? He commands even the wind and the waves, and they obey him." Winds and the water, and they obey him. Jesus and his disciples sailed to the Gerasenes land, which is across the lake from Galilee. As soon as Jesus got out of the boat, a certain man met him. The man was from the city and was possessed by demons. For a long time he had lived among the tombs, naked and homeless. When he saw Jesus, he shrieked and fell down before him. Then he shouted, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." He said this because Jesus had already commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man. Many times it had taken possession of him, so that he would be bound with leg irons and chains and placed under guard. But he would break his restraints when the demon would force him into the wilderness. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, because many demons had entered him. They pleaded with him not to order them to go back into the abyss. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into the pigs. Jesus gave them permission, and the demons left the man and entered the pigs. The herd rushed down the cliff into the lake and drowned. When those who tended the pigs saw what had happened, they ran away and told the story in the city and in the countryside. People came to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had gone. He was sitting at Jesus' feet, fully dressed and completely sane. They were filled with awe. Those people who had actually seen what had happened told them how the demon-possessed man had been delivered. Then everyone gathered from the region of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave their area because they were overcome with fear. So he got into the boat and returned across the lake. The man from whom the demons had gone begged to come along with Jesus as one of his disciples. Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return home and tell the story of what God has done for you." So the man went throughout the city proclaiming what Jesus had done for him. When Jesus returned, the crowd welcomed him, for they had been waiting for him. A man named Jairus, who was a synagogue leader, came and fell at Jesus' feet. He pleaded with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a 12-year-old, was dying. As Jesus moved forward, he faced smothering crowds. A woman was there who had been bleeding for 12 years. She had spent her entire livelihood on doctors, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the hem of his clothes, and at once her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When everyone denied it, Peter said, "Lord, Master, the crowds are surrounding you and pressing in on you." But he said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." When the woman saw that she couldn't escape notice, she came trembling and fell before Jesus. In front of everyone, she explained why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. "Daughter, your faith has healed you," Jesus said. "Go in peace." Jesus was still speaking when someone came from the synagogue leader's house saying to Jairus, "Your daughter has died. Don't bother the teacher any longer. When Jesus heard this, he responded, "Don't be afraid. Just keep trusting, and she will be healed." When he came to the house, he didn't allow anyone to enter with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. They were all crying and mourning for her, but Jesus said, "Don't cry. She isn't dead, she's only sleeping." They laughed at him because they knew she was dead. Jesus said to her, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Her life returned, and she got up at once. He directed them to give her something to eat. Taking her hand, Jesus said, "Child, get up." Her life returned, and she got up at once. He directed them to give her something to eat. Her parents were beside themselves with joy, but Jesus ordered them to tell no one what had happened. Jesus traveled through synagogues and villages preaching. No, Jesus called the 12 together and gave them authority to heal, and gave them power over demons and to heal sicknesses. He sent them out to proclaim God's kingdom and to heal the sick. He said to them, "Take nothing for the journey, no walking stick, no bag, no bread, no money, not even an extra shirt. Whatever house you enter, remain there until you leave that place. Wherever they don't welcome you as you leave that city, shake the dust off your feet as a witness against them." They departed and went through the villages, proclaiming the good news and healing people everywhere. Herod the ruler heard about everything that was happening. He said to himself, he was confused because some people were saying that John had been raised from the dead, others that Elijah had appeared, and still others that one of the ancient prophets had come back to life. He said to himself, "I beheaded John, so now who am I hearing about?" Herod wanted to see him. When the apostles returned, they described for Jesus what they had done. Taking them with him, Jesus withdrew privately to a city called Bethsaida. When the crowd figured it out, they followed him. He welcomed them, spoke to them about God's kingdom, and healed those who were sick. When the day was almost over, the 12 came to him and said, "Send people away so that they can go to the nearby villages and countryside and find lodging and food, because we're in a deserted place." But he said to them, "You give them something to eat." But they replied, "We have no more than 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all these people." They said this because about 5,000 men were present. Jesus said to his disciples, "Seat them in groups of about 50. They did so, and everyone was seated. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up to heaven, blessed them and broke them, and gave them to the disciples to set before the crowd. Everyone ate until they were full. The disciples filled 12 baskets with the leftovers.